For many young people, a year in Israel is a formative experience. It shapes not only and solidifies their Jewish identity, but gives them direction for the rest of their lives. We're here today with Marc Jacobs, who's just returned from a year in Israel. We're going to ask him about those experiences and how they are shaping his future right now. Marc, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, I'd like to ask you, what program were you on?
I was on the Nativ College Leadership Program. It's a program from the conservative movement that brings anywhere from 80 to 160 participants to Israel every year. Basically, we spent about 5 months living in Jerusalem, studying in 3 different types of learning in Jerusalem. And then the second half of the year, we're able to volunteer and give back to the country, either in a developing town or while living on a kibbutz.
And which of those service jobs did you pursue?
I was actually working on the kibbutz in the Refet, which is actually the dairy farm. I spent my days milking cows and caring for calves.
And what would you call the greatest, if there was one highlight out of a whole year, what do you think it was for you spiritually?
Spiritually, it was definitely going to the Kotel for the first time. This was actually my first time being in Israel, so everything was really an amazing experience. And really, the first time we actually went to the Kotel was right after Rosh Hashanah services. We decided that we wanted to walk to the Old City, and we went to the Kotel then. And it was just this phenomenal experience, and it's something that I will never forget.
Well, you do a lot of things in the course of the year, so were there any surprises, since this was your first time in Israel, something you didn't expect, or?
There were a lot of surprises. Probably the biggest surprise for me was just the way the weather changes. It's a really minor thing that you never think about, but we spent about a week touring the Negev and touring the desert in the south, and it had been raining in Jerusalem, which we really didn't think much of until we got to right near the Dead Sea, and the road was shut down because of a flash flood that had actually blocked off about 300 feet of the road, and no one could get through. So it's this really weird, it was just a weird situation where we're in the middle of the desert, but yet there's this raging river running down the mountains, and it was this, like, when does this happen? It was just really bizarre.
Yeah, for our viewers, we have to note that Israel, although a very small country, it's a very short drive to go from desert to abundant water and from one climate to another. So tell me, you spent the year, you came back. How do you think that year has changed your long-term goals and what you want to do with your life and your Jewish life?
Before I went to Israel, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I had some ideas, but I really had no definitive idea. Being in Israel and just being around all the different Jewish education things and just all the learning that I was able to do there really solidified the idea that I would love to work in Jewish education, teaching kids, doing experiential learning, so learning outside of the classroom and in a Jewish working either with high schoolers or college-age kids to kind of give them that educational setting outside of a classroom. So I'm actually currently a Judaic Studies major at FAU with every intention of going to rabbinical school after I graduate.
And should you succeed in all of these things, how do you think you might integrate your personal Israel experience and translate that to children who have not been there yet, or to inspire them to go or follow your footsteps in a year-long program?
Really, I am the biggest advocate for year-long programs now. I feel like they're an amazing experience for anybody, especially people that don't really think that it's something that they want to go somewhere for the first time. Like for me, it was my first time there. It was a bit of a shock getting off the airplane that first time because it's, okay, I've never been here before and now I'm going to be here for the next 9 months of my life. But it was just this really, once I got there, it felt like home. And that's something that I really want to kind of portray and kind of push to people, and really, even if it's not for a 9-month program, to get kids to Israel, get people to Israel for more than a week, because you can't really see the country in a 10-day birthright trip or any of those kind of programs, which are all great programs.
In the course of the 9 months, any homesickness?
A little bit here and there, but really I was busy all the time, and it was just a a phenomenal experience. Like, yeah, there were always those times that you miss home and you miss your parents and you miss your family and all that, but you're still able to communicate with them. Like now in the modern day and age,
it's easy, yes.
Get on a computer, turn on Skype, you can make a phone call for not that much. Like, it's just really, it's so easy to stay in touch that it was really not that hard.
Did you find yourself wanting to stay longer or stay permanently, as it happens to some people?
About a month and a half, with about a month and a half left in my trip, I actually called my mom and I'm like, Mom, I have something to talk to you about. And she's like, well, you really don't need to continue this conversation because I know exactly what you're going to say. And that was the phone call where I told my mom that I'm not coming home and that I want to stay and that I want to serve in the army and that I want to make Israel my home for the rest of my life.
Well, now that you're out of that experience for a few months, how has your perspective changed? You plan to go back? Do you want to go back?
I still would love to go back, and so it's not going to be as immediate. I'm not going back next week. I'm not going back next month, but I definitely foresee myself living in Israel for an extended period of time in the coming years.
Very good. And tell me, how would you encourage the Jewish community here in America, or what do you want to communicate to them about the importance of programs like you went on?
Programs like I went on are really the backbone for not only Jewish education and learning about Israel, but also about Aliyah, which is something that many people are advocating that every Jew should live in Israel. And whether or not that's true, whether or not that's what people believe, getting a first-hand feel of the way Israel works and learning firsthand about the politics and learning firsthand about what happens when there's a catastrophe in Israel and all these different things, learning firsthand, seeing the responses, the reactions firsthand, the way people reach out to each other, all these different things, it's an amazing perspective, and you can't really advocate for Israel without having that kind of experience and seeing firsthand how the country is run.
Very good. Marc, I want to thank you for being with us today and sharing your experiences, and we wish you only the best of luck in the future, and you should get back to Israel as soon as you can.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode. For all the latest information on our show, please visit our website at LChaim.com or visit our new Facebook page. I'm Lee Lazarson. Thanks for joining us on To Life, LChaim.